So I am heading to BSSM in just a couple weeks, Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry in Redding, California, and I am super excited. But one of the biggest struggles I've been having is trying to find housing. So I wanted to share a little bit of a testimony about how God super came through for me in regards to housing. So housing is already hard in general to find because there's so many students from all over the world coming to this tiny town. So the demand is super high, but the supply is limited, right? And then my needs made it a lot more complicated. What most students do is they find a bedroom that's being rented in a house, and there's usually multiple students. You either share a room or you just have a room by yourself, and it's not too hard to find. It goes for about, $500-ish. And I was like, okay, that would be cool, but I can't do that because I have 2 dogs and a cat. I can't leave those behind because asking someone to watch my dogs for 9 months, that's a huge, favor. I don't know anyone who loves me that much, right? And also, my soul might die if I had to leave them behind because they are my fur children. And the original plan was that I was going to leave. I had 2 cats. And now I only have 1, but I had 2 cats. The original plan was to leave the 2 cats behind because they would have each other. And, bringing 2 cats and 2 dogs in my car, driving all the way to Redding, California from Tennessee would be a little much. And I was like, and finding a place that's going to be, that will let me have 4 animals is probably slim to nothing, right? And asking someone to watch some cats is nowhere near as involved or as big of a favor as asking someone to watch dogs. Because the cats kind of just take care of themselves. You just got to kind of fill up the feeder bowl thing every now and then they just do the rest themselves. So anyways, when I came to visit Redding, 2 months ago or so, to kind of get to know the area, look for jobs, look for housing, I had someone watching my 2 cats and my 2 dogs while I was gone, because just asking someone to watch them for a couple weeks isn't that big of a deal. Anyways, but one of my cats while I was gone got lost, and, that was really sad, and I came back, and then, they told me about it, and I was like, man, and, I still haven't found her, so that's super sad. Her name is Luna. She's a white Siamese, and she was my first pet I ever had. So it's really sad not having the closure of knowing, if she got hit by a car, or if she got eaten by a fox, or if someone abducted her and she's living in someone's basement. Anyways, so the point is, now I'm like, okay, well, I have 1 cat and 2 dogs, and I really don't want to leave just my 1 cat behind by himself. His name is Thor, Mighty Thor, because I don't want him to feel like I abandoned him, I'm just leaving and not coming back for 9 months. That's a long time, right? And animals don't understand. You can't, tell them, hey, I'm not abandoning you, I'll be back, it's just going to be a while. They don't understand. They just know that you left them, and, his little heart would be broken, and, he might get depressed, and, I just couldn't live with myself. So I was like, I can't just leave him alone. He won't have the dogs there. He won't have me there. He'll just wonder what happened. So I was like, oh man, okay, so I gotta bring my cat now. So, anyways, that really messed up my plans because I had found a couple places that would let me bring my 2 dogs. And they were like, oh yeah, you can bring the dogs, it's fine. But then, and that was going to be about $500-ish a month, plus or utilities or whatever. I was like, that's doable. 500 isn't bad. But then when I had to, bring the cat and throw that in the mix, that changed everything. I thought for sure that, a cat wouldn't be a problem because usually, landlords are more worried about dogs than cats because dogs tend to be more, damaging, breaking stuff or whatever, and cats generally don't do a lot of harm. So I was like, oh, it shouldn't be a problem, a cat, whatever. But the places I was gonna go were like, oh man, we have cat allergies, and I was like, oh no. So I was like, what am I gonna do? So that eliminated 2 of the cheaper options that I had that were going to be about $500 a month, and that left 1 more option that was going to be about $1,400 a month. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask that one because I was thinking that was not going to be my, first choice because of the price. So I asked them, I was like, hey, what do you think, how do you feel about having the cat there in addition to the dogs? And they were like, oh man, we wish we could help, but we also have a cat allergy. And I was like, oh man. And this place was going to be a single, just kind of a guest house. So it was by myself, a studio, no roommates or anything. And the landlords were like, my husband has a really strong cat allergy, and if, it's really hard to get cat fluff out of the space, and like it's, it's part of their home, so they'd have to clean it and stuff, and that cat fluff and everything. So I was like, dang it, like what am I going to do? So I went from having like several options, which was a miracle for even at all having dogs, to having like 0 options. And I was like, okay, God, what am I going to do? Like, I need you to come through for me. Like, am I like not supposed to go to BSSM because I'm having such a hard time finding housing? Like, maybe I'm just supposed to leave the cat. Maybe I should rehome the cat, but I don't want to because he's one of my fur children and I love him. I don't want him to have separation anxiety or like feel like an orphan that I abandoned him and like need to go into the foster cat system. Anyways, so I was like, man, I don't know what to do. I have no options now. Everywhere said no. Like, I don't know what to do. So then, anyways, I finally, like, just broke down, and I was like, God, like, I've had so much opposition already, like, from friends and, people that I know saying that I shouldn't go to BSSM because I've seen stuff on the internet that makes it look like it's a crazy cult place. And I'm like, okay, but have you actually been there and visited? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, I have, and it's not crazy or cult-like. So, anyways, yeah, just believe everything Google tells you. So that's already been frustrating. And now I'm just like, okay, well, now I have nowhere to live. So do you want me to just live in my car or, like, buy a tent and pitch it in the woods somewhere? Because, I mean, I can do that, except for the fact there's a bunch of homeless in Reading, and that might be #sketchy and not safe. Anyways, sorry, this is my rambling voice. Trying to focus on the story, Grace. So I prayed to God, and I was like, had a little bit of a breakdown. I was like, I know that you called me, or at least I thought you did, and now I'm not so sure, because, like, I've been running into walls every which way I turn. Like, it shouldn't be this hard to, like, make it to Reading, right? I've had financial obstacles, and housing obstacles, and finding job obstacles, and issues with, like, leaving stuff behind here, because I've got 2 mortgages here that I rent out, or I don't rent out mortgages. I rent out the homes, and then I have mortgages for those homes. Anyways, I would love to rent out my mortgage. Who wants to pay my mortgage? Anyone? Anyways, so I was praying, and I felt God, like, nudging me to, like, ask the family again, the $1,400 place that's a studio by myself. And I was like, God, I already asked them, and they said no. They said they have a cat allergy. That doesn't, like, miraculously go away. So, like, I would just be really obnoxious by asking them again. Like, hey, I know that I already asked you, but could you change your mind? It's like, no. But, like, I felt God just, like, nudging me, and I'm like, okay, look, I already hate asking people for things as it is. Like, I already feel like my existence is an affront to everyone's personhood, and that I'm just, like, a burden all the time. I don't know if any of y'all can relate. I'm sure that's something that God's gonna work on me in and help me grow in, but that's just where I'm at. And so I was like, God, no, like, I cannot. And he was like, okay, if their issue is really like the cat allergy, why don't you offer to pay to have a cleaning person come by, like, weekly to stay on top of all the cat hair, so it doesn't get built up, and then at the end offer to pay for, like, a deep clean before you move out, if that's the only thing that's the issue is the cat allergy, because they're not actually living in the space. I have my own space, but, like, it belongs to them, so they would have to, like, clean it and be in it, and so the allergies. So I was like, I don't want to ask them, because I'm going to be super obnoxious, and they're going to be like, who is this renter that we have, like, agreed to have live there, and she's already asking for all these ridiculous things. So I was like, okay. And so I was like, fine. And so I took, like, 2 hours to come up with, like, a 5-sentence text saying, like, hey, I really hope I don't sound super obnoxious, and I'm not trying to, but I was thinking about, maybe something we could work out. And I was like, if the allergy thing is really the issue, and I offered for the cleaning and stuff, and I sent it, and they didn't respond right away, and I kind of was, like, stressing about it. And then, like, a day or so went by, and then, like, I just had an emotional breakdown because the stress had just built up so much, and, like, I had no job planned, I had no housing plans, everything was just seeming to fall apart, everywhere was like a shut door, and I just had a complete breakdown. And I was like, God, I feel like I've been doing all of the work here, I feel like I've been trying to find, all these things for myself, and nothing's been working. I feel like I've been pulling all the weight here, and God, you haven't been doing anything, which is obviously not true, but that's just how I was feeling, and I was yelling at him because he can handle it, and I'm sorry. And I was just like, if you could just show me that you're actually here and actually helping me, and that you actually care, and that I'm not just over here, like, drowning, doing everything myself, I'd appreciate it. Sometimes I have sassy prayers, but it's okay. And then, like, Literally, because, I had had that prayer when I went on a walk. I took a walk, had an emotional breakdown, and I forgot to bring my phone on the walk, which I usually always never forget my phone because it's like a part of my body now. But I forgot it, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. And then literally after I had that emotional breakdown and yelled at God for not actually doing anything, came back and looked at my phone, and I had a text message from those people, and they were like, hey, we've decided that you can bring your cat. And I was like, wow. And I literally just burst into tears, like, again, for the second time that day. I cry a lot, apparently, because I was like, wow, like, I literally just finished yelling at God, telling him that he's not doing anything, and the minute, like, I come back after I prayed and look at my phone, like, I was like, they're not going to reconsider. No one just magically gets over a cat allergy, like, overnight just because you ask them to, right? But I was just like, wow, this is amazing, and, like, I just felt so much peace in that moment, like, God saying, like, it's okay, like, I called you here, I'm going to get you there, and you're not on your own. And I just thought that was amazing, because, like, so many places aren't pet friendly, and I know bringing 2 dogs and a cat is a lot to ask of someone. I mean, because I'm a landlord, I get it. I don't like renting to people with pets. Like, even one pet, it's like, that one pet's gonna destroy my entire house, right? That's just what we think. And so, like, the fact that someone is allowing me to bring 2 dogs and a cat is just, like, overwhelming, and I'm just, like, so amazed at how good God is, and, like, his sense of humor. He's just like, it's like I literally just prayed and yelled at him, and he was like, what was that? I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that? And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Anyways, I just wanted to share that little testimony with you guys. Hope that you enjoy, and it inspires and gives you hope if you're ever going through anything also that is stressing you out. So he's listening, and it's okay if you want to yell at him, because he can take it, and he just wants a relationship with you, and he'd rather you talk to him that way than not at all. So yeah. Bye!